Hello and welcome
It's
to
the Legends of Tabletop. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't done an interruption in a long time, so I felt like singing it. The Legends of Tabletop. Okay, I'm done.
All right, well, we're going to play
You're now
Runners
required
tonight.
to do that every single time.
I'll do it in a different genre each time.
There we
Oh,
go.
there you go. All right, we need show tunes next time.
Okay. All right. Let's go grab a hat. Legends of Tabletop.
All right, we're going to be playing Runners tonight, or not so quite a play test, I guess. I'm going to kick it over to Jesse to give us a recap, and we'll jump into it.
All right. So last time our group had made their way out of Ingram with Brock, Zuchy's brother, carried him across the burnt, arrived into Zane, where they found Mara waiting outside of the doors. She knew how to get there, just didn't know how to get in. Eventually, they did get in, where they were, given respite, met some of the people, met up with Amarla, talked a bit to Mara, figured out what's going on with her, and eventually one of the Marlas came back. They were talking to her. They explained their situation about how Zuchy's brother Brock is he was exposed to the signal. He's not connected anymore, but he's not coherent, not conscious, and they were hoping that they could help him. She said that she would talk to some of their scientists and she would run it by Mr. Mercer. But, if all goes well, they will help. They will need some medical records, which Huxley said that he would try to provide, and they would also need a blood sample from Brock. And the sooner the better. Huxley did say, I can't remember all the records, but, I can talk to my mom and we can maybe get them. But also, Brock is here in this case. And coming to that realization, Marla slammed her hand on the monitor pad and called a code green, at which point all the lights go green and there is a dull humming alarm that proceeds to sound. And that is where we left off. And that is where we are going to pick up. So
Did I say something wrong?
And she is typing out something on the pad real quick. And then a face comes up of a man that you have not met before. And he says, what's the code? And she says, we have a situation in the staging room. There is an individual who has been exposed to the signal. And right now, I believe that he is contained. However, I cannot vouch for the quality of the containment. And we need to proceed with caution. But I do believe this person is in need of desperate assistance. And so he says, Roger, and we'll send a team down immediately. And then the screen turns off. And at that point, she'll turn around to Huxley and she goes, you right now did not do anything wrong. I do desperately wish that you had made us aware of this situation from the very beginning, because then we could have taken all the necessary precautions.
Oh, but you see, because Miss Mara was here, but because we didn't want her to know, because I don't think she likes us very much, and because we brought him and we weren't sure if we should bring him, but Miss Marla, the other our Marla, she thought that maybe you guys would be able to help, but so that's why we didn't say anything. But as soon as we got you alone, then here he is. Kind of waves his hand at the the container.
I do understand your caution. I just wish you hadn't been quite so cautious.
Well, I'm sorry.
I think that we were rolling the dice on if we would be able to get any help. We didn't want to take the chance of standing outside the door and putting it all out and having us turned away, because this is something that's really important to us, and we wanted to make sure that if there was any way to help, that we could get it.
That makes sense. I do understand your hesitancy. And at that moment, you see the doors behind her open, and there is a group of 5 people who come in with a like a stretcher bed on wheels. And they say, where's the patient? And they look, it's like all of you are standing and you look fine.
Yeah. Huxley looks to Zuchy before, like, opening up the case, right? Looking for confirmation to, proceed.
Pop the top.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Zuchy would actually like take him out of the container right away. So he would probably turn to one of the, I'm assuming they're med techs or whatever, and he would just be like, he's in this case. Do you think that he's safer being in here so he doesn't have more exposure to y'all, or do you think that is okay that we actually take him out of there and put his body on there for you?
We have containment rooms. He'll be perfectly fine between here and there. Our number one concern right now is getting him out so that we can monitor all of his vitals as well as any potential signal connection.
Okay. Is there a protocol as far as who can be in that room and who cannot be in that room?
We've honestly never dealt with that before.
Okay, because no offense to y'all, I trust you, but I would like to be in there with him if I may.
And they kind of like glance over to Marla, and she nods her head. And they're like, all right, come on. We got to get him out first.
Okay. All right, y'all want to help me get him in here?
Yeah, sure thing, Mr. Zuchy. And Huxley start helping undo the latches or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So Smokey will go over and, with the guys and start popping, popping rivets and opening the lid, whatever we need to do. And I can't remember if we had said this before, but he'll keep like shooting a look over to the Marla. So is it Marla or the Marla? I can't remember if we figured that out.
It's a Marla. Yeah.
It's a Marla. It's a.
It's not your Marla, but it is a.
Yeah.
Marla.
No one's ever the something. It's always a one of
That's
them.
what it seems like. So he'll take a couple furtive glances over and just kind of shake his head and go back. He's still trying to. And I know we've been here before and we kind of know what we're getting into, but it's still throwing him a bit every time he sees a face, more than one face moving around.
All right, so yeah, if you guys you pop the case open and start to help Brock out, and they will come. A couple of the guys will come over and help you, kind of take off the oxygen, unstrap him, and get him up onto the bed. Where at that point, a woman cracks open a med case where they put on, an O2 sensor and a heart monitor and blood pressure monitor, and they put electrodes to his head just so they can get some brain activity. And then at that point, one of them, pulls up a data pad and starts pulling up all his vitals and go, okay, we have connection. Let's get him going. If you want to come with us, you can.
I will. Are you two going to be okay? I have to go. I have to be with him.
Smokey will just kind of, Smokey will wink at Zuchy and kind of wave him on.
We should be fine. You don't need my help, right? I mean, I guess they have everything covered.
Yeah, I think they do. You've done all you can. And he puts his hand on Huxley. He says, find out what you can about anything else. I won't be much help right now, so I'm gonna be there for Brock, okay?
Okay. I think Huxley awkwardly gives him a quick hug as he starts to turn away.
Yeah, for sure. And he would at first Zuchy would be kind of not expecting it, but he's not above giving a hug because he's done that he did that with his family, so he'll give him a nice little embrace or whatever, and then he'll go with them.
What do we do now, Mr. Smokey?
We sit and wait, and then he'll lower his voice a little bit and just say, and see if we're in any trouble, and if we're in trouble, how we can get out of that trouble. He'll look over to Marla, and if there's anyone else in there, just to see if there's any kind of reaction, or everybody's focusing on Zuchy and Brock leaving.
Yeah, at that point, the 5 med techs are taking care of Brock. One of them's escorting Zuchy. Marla's kind of paying attention to them a little bit, and then once they leave, she'll turn back to the two of you.
And we run. We run away.
So serene, so innocent, and then all of a sudden just run!
Run!
Right. No, she will say, you can wait here I have some things I need to take care of, especially in light of this situation. You can wait here all you like. If you want something to drink or coffee, food, anything like that, there's the cafeteria. I don't know if you remember how to get there, but and she actually just looks. She says, if you just tap this, and she kind of double taps it and the screen turns on. She's like, you can get directions to anywhere you like from here. And if you have any questions, just tap it and ask for me. And she says, well, M172.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of hungry. Mr. Smoke, you want to grab something to eat?
That sounds good. Type it in and lead the way. And Smokey will kind of watch Marla leaving just to make sure there isn't, no door slam shut or anything. But obviously, it seems like the reaction's pretty good. But it's still a bit cautious and nervous, realizing what we've done.
And after a few moments of her leaving too, the lights, the green lights turn back to, the static, clean white light. You can see that on the walls. You know how they have the little fire alarm lights in public buildings? So there's small ones like that are still kind of giving a slight green flash, but everything else has returned to normal.
I think before we leave, right? So I assume she leaves. She's like, if you want to go get something to eat, whatever. So Huxley taps on the screen, and then he looks over to Smokey, and then he starts tapping a little bit more. I mean, he's not he's trying to hack anything, but since we're kind of left alone, I think he wants to poke around a little bit.
I was thinking
Yeah.
the same thing when she was saying you can look around for stuff on there. So
I mean, I don't know. Like, I've got mechanics in it. Well, it's not either one of those things anymore. I guess it's mechanic now. So I don't know. I also have med tech and biology, so I don't know what kind of role you'd be looking for, because I don't know that Huxley knows what he's looking for. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I understand how this works to some degree, right?
Well, I mean, it's it's a computer.
Your computer's
Right.
a computer, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, he just starts kind of nosing around a little bit.
Well, what are you
just
looking
to see
for?
if we can see if anything pop. I'll walk over to where Huxley is and just kind of look over his shoulder what he's doing, and just to see if there's anything that pops up that's any interest. But Smokey doesn't have anything in mind specifically to look for, right?
So when you first tap on it, when the screen turns on, you get that you get kind of a pulsing bluish like bluish kind of to yellow ring of like a waiting screen or something like that. So you like tap on it and that comes up and it just kind of starts to pulse a little bit. And then after probably like 5 seconds, the screen goes dark again. And if you tap on it again, then it wakes up again and you get that same ring.
When the ring is up, I like double tap on it, right? Like, I don't know if this is a computer similar to what we have at Ingram, or if this is, like a different, right? Like going from a touchscreen to a desktop, if it's just like a different
Right, yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
this is not anything that you've dealt with. It's not an operating system that you've dealt with before.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a keyboard, or is it all touch screen?
It's all touch. Yeah. It's just a single. It's almost like a 25-inch TV, like stuck into the wall.
So I'll just start tapping in like the left corner, see if anything happens. And I'll tap in the right corner, because I don't want to
Swipe
talk
up.
to anybody, right? I'm just
Swipe
trying to see
down.
if I can pull something up.
Yeah, so you kind of start tapping around, and then like you tap on like the top left corner, and you get like this small menu that pops up, and it's basically
Ooh.
like, and it's like search, map, map, personnel, data logs, all so a bunch of different stuff kind of comes up.
Oh, well, here's the map, Mr. Smokey. So he'd pull that up first, just so we can actually go get something to eat and go to the bathroom. And then once we get, so I guess we'll see whether or not there's anything interesting on the map.
Yeah, I was going to say once we get the location of where we want to go, Smokey will just say, well, he'll look around and just say, well, let's keep on typing just to see if there's anything else interesting that pops up. I don't know if there's anything specific that you'd want to be looking for, and I'm Smokey and Kevin are trying to rattle through their head about anything specific we want to look up, and so he would just say, let's just see what we can find.
Well, that was kind of what I was thinking, Mr. Smokey, because I don't really know, but I mean, that personnel too. So, I mean, we could at least maybe see how many iterations of each person they have, maybe, if that's what's in here. But like, and it'll like try to like stretch the map out and see like, does anything weird stand out on the map? Like,
so it shows you. So first, when you bring it up, when you touch map, it gives you an option of levels, and you basically have level 0 through 5.
Does it show which level we're on? I assume it does.
It does not.
It does not.
No, so it's in words. It's not, and you almost kind of see like a splice image underneath it, but it literally says like level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5.
I would assume because we went down to get in, right? So the door or the gate, the entryway is set, and then we go down. So it's not like it's a office block or anything. So I'm assuming Smokey's going to tell Huxley. I'm guessing we're on 0, and 5 is the lowest. But I mean, that would just be my guess.
Yeah, I would think so, right? Because there's nothing above. I mean, there's nothing above ground. So, I mean, I don't feel like we went down real far.
Does it say anything label on each of the levels of what they are? Residence.
That's all it
offices,
says.
lab.
Yeah.
Is there a search function on the map?
Yeah, there's a little search bar there.
So I type in cafeteria because I assume that's close to where we are.
All right, and at that point, the level 1 kind of brightens, and then that disappears, and it pops up into a like a blueprint map, and you get a general outline, almost like if you were to go to like a mall map, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you get just a bunch of little blocks, and it has a little blue light that pops up, and then you get a dotted line that goes and it leads to this somewhat larger room. And then once it connects, you get like blue, and that starts to kind of pulse a little bit.
Do we have a level on either one of those now, or it doesn't show
That's
that?
level 1.
That's level 1. Okay.
So level 1 lit up, and then that kind of went away, and that's when the map came up, inferring that you are in level 1.
Gotcha.
Level 1. Is this?
Go ahead.
Is this display set into the wall, or is it like, if you go into an office building and it's like a little kiosk or anything like that?
No, it's like built into the wall itself.
Does it show the Spencers?
The what?
The Spencers.
Yep.
We're heading to the food court, and then we just need the arcade after.
That's the food court. We have the Spencer over here. That's the Hot Topic. The GameStop's over here.
Candle.
Does it give names for, like, specifically I typed in cafeteria, but are any of the boxes, so any of the rooms, is anything labeled, or is it just like a dotted line to a flashing light?
Yeah, it's basically just a flashing light to a dotted line to a flashing.
All minimalist. The future's all minimalist. It's all straight lines and.
I don't know, Mr. Smokey. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, 5 levels, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but I mean, nothing's labeled. I don't know what we'd be able to find if. I mean, I just wanted to see kind of like if there was anything weird, because there's clones and stuff. So, but I don't know that we'll be able to find anything.
So, Smokey is gonna, run his hands around the edge of this display thing just to see if there's any. Was it ingress? Yeah, to get it. Hey, Smokey's looking to see it. He'll look over to Huxley and say, "Is there any way we can plug in and copy this information down to look at later?" But he'll look around, and if it's flush and there's no movement, like Smokey wants to get some more information, but he also doesn't want us to get all kicked out, and because Brock is getting help, so he won't try very hard. But like if there was like a USB port sticking out, that's one thing. But I'm not going to yank this thing out of the wall to try to get access to it.
You kind of feel around a little bit, and on the left side, you feel like a little bit of an indent, and then you look and you see like a few USB. I don't know, what would they be into R's? You see some input points.
So, Huxley, tell me if this is a dumb idea or not, because I'll listen. But
Okay.
Is there a way that we can get the information that's in there onto our Can we copy that information down to us?
Well, I mean, he kind of scratches his head. I mean, maybe. I think so. I mean, like, I have my tools and stuff, but, he kind of like looks around the room. I don't want us to get in trouble. I mean, they, Mr. Zuchy's with Brock, and I mean, if we do something, because I don't know, they might be able to track it or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. And if they kick us out, then they might not help Brock. And then Mr. Zuchy's going to be real mad.
Smokey will kind of just shake his head real quick, like bringing himself back around, and he'll tap Huxley on the shoulder and go, "You're absolutely right, but let's just remember that if we see some of these displays anywhere else, it does look like there's a way to interface with it, and let's just keep that in mind if we need to. But I think you're right. I don't want to step in it. We made it this far. They took us in. They took Brock away to help. So let's not risk that. But let's just remember that could be an option in the future."
Okay. I mean, maybe before we go, if you think maybe, I don't know if we might get a chance. I don't know. I mean, I don't want us to get in trouble. I mean, because if we have to come back again, and then we don't want to ruin that, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think I was just letting my my imagination run a bit, but now we do know. Yeah,
I was going to say, if you angle the suit a little bit, right? Because the suit has a camera on it. But so, like, if you turn it, I could, like, maybe cycle through parts of the map, but we don't really know what we're looking for.
Yeah, let's take a quick screenshot and go. Let's not tamper with anything else, and then let's go get something to eat. You said you're hungry, so let's not waste any more time. And Smokey will kind of start pointing directions. Which way are we going? Just to kind of hustle Huxley along.
Just before we go, real quick, and then he'll, like, tap the personnel one just to see what comes up.
Sure. You get a list of departments. So you get warehouse, you get shipping, you have lab tech, you have janitorial, you have executive, you have a bunch of different categories to choose from.
I tap on executive.
All right. When you do, it flashes red, and then in the middle of the screen, it says PID.
Oh, crap. And he like tries to close the windows real fast.
Let's go get something to eat. And if anybody asks, just say you fat fingered it and you didn't know what you were doing.
Okay.
No, I'll try to hustle Huxley towards the door.
He's all red now.
All right. All right. So, Zuchy, you are on your way with the med techs and Brock on a cart. They begin kind of taking him down the hallway, similar to the path that you took the first time that you were here, when they were leading you kind of through all the offices. But at one point, instead of going straight, they take a left, and it is a very short corridor where you then see a pair of elevators and elevator doors. And they kind of run over to one, press the down arrow, which in this, there is only a down arrow. And they're basically waiting there a few moments for an elevator show up. And in that moment, why don't you... Oh my God, we're going to roll dice. Go ahead and give me a psyche roll. And if you have anything that has to do with like vision or hearing or awareness or anything like that, you can go ahead and add that.
Okay. No, I don't. So let's hope that these were all good. That's a 5.
5, nice. That's a yes and. So as you're kind of waiting for the elevator, it's just a few moments, but it's enough to kind of, everything kind of feels like it's in a rush right now, and any moment of just standing around feels like a waste. And so you're kind of just you look at the elevator and you're kind of looking back, and then out of the corner of your eye, you catch what kind of puts it off is you see 3 people in somewhat of the lab, like the lab scrub equipment, except for these people have blue armbands on either arm, and they appear to be wearing more of a like work boot style footwear, with like reinforced glasses and not quite a helmet, but almost a helmet. And they seem to be carrying batons with them. And they go running in the instead of taking the left that you did, they are running straight down that hallway. So you just catch a glimpse of them running right past you. And I'm gonna give you an and if you have one.
And I overhear one of the people that are with me just try to whisper, but it's loud where I can hear what that situation actually is.
Nice. All right. Yeah, they so a couple of the med techs also see it, and one of them whispers over basically, man, I can't believe that they let one of them see the other one. That's really not going to turn out well.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear exactly what you said.
Oh, sorry. No, so he says, man, I can't believe that they let one of them see the other. It's not going to turn out well. And then that woman turns to the guy and says, especially when they do it that way, they're supposed to keep it secret if they're here.
Gotcha. Okay. I get it.
And then at that point, you hear the bing of the elevator, and the elevator doors begin to open, and they start to rush Brock into the elevator.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you're going to follow with Brock?
Of course.
Sounds good. So they get in the elevator. One of them kind of puts their hand on a pad. There's no numbers, no buttons inside. One of them puts their hand on a pad and says 3rd floor, and it kind of brings green, doors close, and you feel the elevator kind of drop steadily, but in kind of a hurried way. Like those almost express elevators where you can actually feel it drop.
Yeah.
And
how
so
many floors are there in this place?
And he turns and he's like, 5. Why?
Oh, I wasn't saying it out loud.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, he's basically, I suppose it probably doesn't have a number system, probably like we would have necessarily.
No.
Okay. Yeah, if I don't notice it, then I wouldn't ask out loud.
Okay, sounds good.
No.
All right,
No. I'm not going to start any trouble here. No.
And so, yeah, when it drops down, finally, it's a very brief moment where it goes down and then it stops smoothly but abruptly. And then the doors open and you are in a very different style building than you were 10 seconds ago. This one, the lights are slightly dimmer, but only because they have more of that yellow hue to them than they do that sterile white. And you see a handful of desks, and then it is a large open room with a mixture of curtained walls and then a whole bunch of like plexiglass window walls with doors probably every 15 or so feet.
Okay.
And they basically take him down, and there is one thing, and I'll tell you, you probably would have maybe noticed it beforehand, but definitely you're noticing it now, is that along the wall there are these green lights, and as you pass each one, the light goes from like a blinking green to turning off. And I'll say too, Huxley and Smokey, like once you kind of finish puttering around with the map and everything, you'll notice that your light has turned off, and when you go out into the hallway, the rest of the lights there, the blinking green lights, have turned off. And you see one light above a doorway that's blinking green, and it appears as though that's the one that they're heading to. So they wheel him into a room, and once they go in, it looks like a very comfortable hospital room. So there's a bed with a chair next to it, a TV up on the wall, and a whole kind of slew of medical equipment kind of stacked up all against the wall, built into everything. So very purposefully designed. Even against one of the walls is like a window, but it's very clearly not, and it has like a scene of outside and everything, and you see like the wind blowing and a tree gently swaying, but it's very clearly like a screen that just has outside on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they say, if you want, you can take a seat here. We're just going to get him all set up. And then one of the doctors will be in a moment to follow up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. And they basically, the data pad that they had, they place it into a cutout in the wall that then you see it kind of blink a little bit, and then it connects to everything. And they have him set up all the monitoring and everything. They didn't have to worry about swapping anything over. He is all connected and monitored now. And they kind of say, if there's anything you need, the pad over next to the door, you can tap on that, and then you can ask for any assistance.
Appreciate it.
And then they leave.
Okay. So Zuchy would probably sit down in the chair next to Brock or whatever, and he would probably put his hand on Brock's hand. He'd be like, all right, brother. Hopefully we're going to be able to get you the help that you need. And he'll just kind of like stroke his hand a little bit and just kind of squeeze it a little bit to reassure him that everything's going to be all right.
There you go. And yeah, when you do that, you actually feel a brief twinge in his hand. It kind of starts in his fingers and like moves up the wrist, and you can see his forearm kind of tense a little bit. And it's just for the briefest moment, and you're not sure whether or not it's just an automatic muscle function or a response to you, or maybe somewhere in between. But
yeah. Oh, Zuchy knows. He knows.
And so yeah, after a minute or so, there's a knock on the door, and a woman in a lab coat, hair done up, mask on, comes into the room and says, "I hear we have a patient here who has been affected by the signal."
He has.
So how long has he been in this state for?
As long as I've been with him, which has been, and I don't know the correct amount of time, so I'll just say
It's been
however long we've been with him.
a few days. Yeah.
Yeah. And to just say like we found him out and about in this state, but I've actually had some physical communication with him through touch. So I know that because this is my brother, by the way, and because I know that I have this attachment to him, that it may seem that I'm picking. Some people might think I'm picking it out of the air, but I know my brother, and I know that he is being responsive enough that I feel that if we could find the right people, and hopefully you're the right people, he can be helped.
Understood. So you have said that he's exhibited some physical response. That's potentially good. So I'm assuming that you found him out in the burnt then? Where exactly did you... So you say you don't know how long he's been out there, but where did you find him? Was he by himself? Yeah, I got the word wrong. Okay, I have 4 different versions of this game in my head right now, John. So depending on, now we have minimal mapping of the area outside. However, depending on where he was, there's variations in the strength of the signal, and if it was in a lighter zone as opposed to a heavier zone, then that could be beneficial. So do you know precisely where? I don't know if you have coordinates or if you can even just give me a general idea.
Yeah, I think because Huxley probably had that marked in the suit, right?
Yeah, we dropped the pin in that where the crater was, so it's in between here and Ingram for sure. But if you don't know what they are, they should be in the suit or in the cube, the storage cube.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So I show her exactly where it's at. I wouldn't hide anything.
Yep. All right. So yeah, she'll take it to, okay, I'll pass this off to our research team so that we can get a more specified idea of what he's been through for however long it's been. In the meantime, you can stay here if you would like. Honestly, he seems to be responding well to you from what you've said. So any help that you could do can't hurt, honestly. This recovery, if we're able to do it, is going to be mental as much as it is physical. And anything that we can do to keep his personality and his mind here will help. We have tools. We have not used them for this specific reason, but I will get a team together, and honestly, if this is something that we can do, that would be incredibly helpful going forward. So we are going to put our best effort into this.
I appreciate that, because I know that if there is a chance to save my brother, there's also a chance to save others. So again, I'm not very scientific myself, but I know that solving one thing could solve many other things. So I appreciate all the help that you can get.
We'll do our best. In the meantime, we'll be in and out over the next hour or so, gathering as much information as we can. Some of the techs may have questions for you if they when they come in. I apologize if we repeat ourselves, but as many answers as we can get will be as helpful as possible.
I'm here to help.
We appreciate it. And with that, she'll kind of walk over to the pad. She'll check up on a few of his vitals and then say he appears to be in good standing at the moment, at least physically. So you've done a good job.
Hey.
In that, she kind of nods her head and she leaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that Zuchy, in just kind of trying to maybe start the process a little bit, which is kind of weird to say, but he remembers back when he was with his family that him and his brothers and sisters would always like to do anything physical, whether it be training or going for a run or anything like that. So I think what he would actually do is he would actually take Brock's legs and he would be like, all right, man, I think we need to, if we're going to start this thing, maybe we can get you a little bit going here. So he'll like take one leg and kind of bend the knee up, put it back down, bend it up, and then he'll like try to like, he'll do that with the other leg too. And then he'll do that with Brock's arms and stuff like that. He'll kind of move his head a little bit and he'll just kind of be like, the doctor said you were in pretty good physical condition. So I thought, you know what, let's get some of those kinks out. And then he'll just kind of like do some like things that like someone, if they were like going through like physical therapy, he would like start some of that kind of thing. He'd also kind of give him a little bit of a massage too. Just anything to kind of get everything kind of working. Because, Brock's been in this box, for who knows how long. And even if you're in a vegetative state or something like that, or in a state where you can't do too much, some activity is always good. So he's going to be like, let's get these synapses going, let's get some stuff going and maybe we can get you to where we get. So Zuchy's never been very good at staying in one spot for too long unless he's meditating, and this is not the time for him to meditate. So he's gonna try to do that.
Sounds good. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and give me either Charm or Psyche, and it's going to be a DL3.
Okay. And what is this in?
This is, similar. This is making motivation almost, right? So this is you making a connection to Brock, trying to get him activated, right? Kind of trying to make a connection, get a response from him, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
As you're rolling your dice, Kurt, with Zuchy's martial arts and his experience with all that kind of stuff, does he practice Reiki or Qigong or any sort of like energy movement type stuff? I'm wondering if
I would assume he would, yeah, because again, I'm modeling this character more of like a modern day like Bruce Lee almost, so I think that he would.
So would that also be appropriate then to like maybe use martial arts as Qigong? Right? This is like doing energy work.
Yes. The martial arts
manipulation. Right, because it's the flip side of the martial art, right? To also do that energy work. Like you're doing physical work, but then also like the energy side of it.
Yeah, I'd absolutely allow that.
Oh, 2 5s and a 6, baby.
Nice. So basically, we're treating this as I'm treating this as a support role, as a helping role, right? So with that, you got a yes and right. So you have given superior help, right?
Nice.
So let me now make a quick roll.
And he wakes up. We did it.
Horrible.
Wow. All right. Well, see you guys next time until something
There
else
you go.
happens, I guess.
So I rolled okay. But your bonus definitely did help. So you are kind of going through the motions with him, right? Like you kind of moved his legs a little bit, and then you go and you move his arms and move his head and kind of try to move. And for the most part, it feels like you're moving. I mean, not quite like a mannequin, right? But like there's little resistance except for the basic resistance that his joints and muscles give. But it's easy to move, right? And so you're kind of moving everything around, and it feels at least limber, right? It's not like it's just dead weight, right? Like you're getting a little bit of resistance at least, which is a good sign. And then kind of you go back and you're kind of moving his legs, and you start talking about like, hey, when we used to run and you chase you and all that kind of stuff. And as you're doing that, you start to actually get not just the resistance from his limbs, but you actually feel like he's pushing back on you, right? Like he's giving like purposeful, actual resistance. And then you start to hear him talk. You hear first like a huffing sound almost, right? Like heavy breathing. And then you hear him, and this is the first time you've heard his voice in I don't know how many years at this point. And it sounds weak and it sounds raspy, as if he hasn't talked since then. But you hear him start to call out, and he says, no, go away. No, I can't. Ah! And he, at that point, starts to almost kick at you, and you feel his legs start to pump. And at that point, the heart monitor starts going off, and you hear the beep, 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 and then the red lights start to go off, and within moments, there's 2 nurses that are coming into the room.
And he's scared, but not to a point where he feels like it's the end of the world, just because he probably understands that Brock has been through a lot, and if he is trying to come out of some kind of sleep or whatever he's in, it's probably not with any bumps or bruises or whatever. So he kind of backs up and just kind of lets everybody do their own thing. He probably looks down a little bit, kind of in a little bit of shame, just because he doesn't want his brother to be in any pain, but he knows that the way out is going to be tough. So,
right. And yeah, they take several moments, and eventually you see them actually, take a needle, like something in a syringe, and actually like put it onto the top of his hand, and after a few moments, he settles back down again, and his heartbeat returns to normal, and they turn to you, and they're like, what happened? We were told that he has been non-responsive. Is this how he's been the whole? And they almost seem agitated with you at this point.
Yeah.
Is this how he's been?
No, he's been okay. So here's the deal. When we got him back, he was in a very deep vegetative state. I have actually I've had some minimal responses through me trying to talk to him. And again, they're very small. It's either a hand squeeze or a reaction in like a leg or something like that. So nothing too big. This is something I've never experienced with him yet. And I was trying to help him kind of loosen up after he's been dragged in this box for so long. I haven't seen this response from him yet, and it's, for me, it's positive, even though I know it's very dangerous what just happened, but you don't understand. I thought my brother was lost, and now I've gotten a response out of him, a major response, even if it's something that's negative. This is big, and I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I caused any trouble.
And they look at him like, no, I understand. No, honestly, this is important. It just, in the future, we would like to more closely monitor this to see what spurs the response. Is that okay?
Okay, so you want me to, let me just get this straight. You want me to just sit here and just keep my peace here, and then you guys do all the work?
No, that's not what we're saying. Your presence here obviously is having a reaction. And like you said, regardless of the outcome, a reaction is a positive response, regardless of what it is. All we're asking is that we be able to monitor these situations. We need to be able to know if he does have a reaction, what spurred that on. Obviously, you're going to help with that. We just can't have it happen when there's none of us here, just in case.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I totally understand.
Okay. All right, and with that, they both look at each other. They're like, okay. And they both leave.
Okay. And then, so Zuchy will sit back down, and he'll say it not loud, but he'll kind of say it to himself, and he'll be like, oh, there you go, Zuchy, making problems where you shouldn't. And then he'll just kind of lay back, and he'll actually do some meditation, because
Nice.
he knows that Brock is probably asleep now, or calmed down to the point where he doesn't want to start anything. So he'll just kind of sit and meditate. If he decides to take a little bit of a nap, maybe he will as well, just because it's been a long couple of days. So
yeah,
he's not too worried about it until somebody comes
the
to
line
bother him.
between meditation and sleeping is very thin.
Yes, exactly. I was just meditating. I wasn't sleeping at all.
All right. Hux and Smokey, you're heading to the cafeteria.
You don't think they're going to
Following
make him into a clone, do you? I mean, that'd be super weird, because they said they were going to help him, but I mean, if they take his DNA, right? I mean, they could make another Brock. I mean, but it wouldn't be the same Brock, and he'd have to stay here, right? Or he'd need the drugs that Miss Marla had. I don't think Mr. Zuchy would like that very much.
I don't know if Brock comes back to Zuchy. I don't know. I'll kind of shrug and just say, you know, everything people do for other people, there's not too many people that are altruistic anymore. So I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of price to pay if they're able to help Brock. Now, whether that means they send us on 1,000,000 runs over the next 10 years to pay them back, or they do something else. And, to me, they can have my blood and do whatever they want. It's not going to affect me. I'm me. And if they make more me's, then that's just some shit they're going to have to deal with. I can't even handle myself. Let them try to handle a bunch of Smokies running around. But I think you do have a point that, they're making all this effort to help him. Maybe they can see some value out of that. But let's just get Brock better first, and then we can worry about all the other stuff later.
I mean, I guess, or they're going to let us leave. I mean, we can't pay for it, right? I mean, I don't.
If you look around, I don't think they're too worried about having money to pay for stuff, right? I think they've got that all locked down. I think it's more that they're going to be looking for help in other areas, and maybe some of those areas are, things we can help them with.
Yeah, I mean, anything to help Mr. Zuchy. I guess we'll just have to see what the other Miss Marla says, I guess.
That turret didn't cut us to pieces, so I'm taking that as a win. We're here. That's another win. And hopefully, they can help with Brock. And we'll just leave it up to fate to see what comes out the other end. But I'm guessing there will be some kind of a payback required, but until we hear it, there's no use worrying about it.
I guess you're right. I wonder what's going on at home. Smash cut to flames. People screaming. It's like it's some shit out of The Walking Dead.
Miss Joanna smashing all over dinnerware and glasses in the house.
Let's say. So yeah, we'll say that you guys have been having this conversation kind of on your walk to the cafeteria, right?
Yeah.
And so Huxley is like, oh, I wonder what's been going on at home. And that's as, you come to the cafeteria, and there's, a couple of doors that when you approach them, they slide open. And as soon as they crack open, you just hear chaos. There is yelling and screaming and people swearing, and you hear, stuff getting thrown on the ground and plates clattering and all that kind of ruckus going on.
I think I stepped behind Smokey. Like, I assume we're kind of like walking side by side, and then like smash, and he just kind of like takes a step. What's going on?
I halt walking just to see if we can notice what's going on.
All right. So you look in, I mean, the cafeteria area isn't huge, right? It's, it's a decent size, but maybe like a small elementary school cafeteria size, right? So like a dozen or so tables and, windows for the food and all that kind of stuff. And you can see a few of the tables have been turned over, and you see dog standing there, or at least a dog standing there with like this surprised, shocked look on his face. And you see Mara being restrained by two men in white jumpsuits with boots and nightsticks, and they have like the nightsticks around her arms, like trying to pull her back, and she's just wrestling them. One of them has like the sleeve is like kind of torn, and one of them has had the goggles knocked off. And there's another guy on the ground standing over somebody, and she's just, "Oh, you motherfuckers! What the fuck did you? I cannot fucking believe you did! God damn it!"
I don't think we're going to get anything to eat.
Do we step in and help?
I don't wonder. She's kind of big, Mr. Smokey. I don't know if Mr. Zuchy was here, maybe, but I don't. She told me she was going to kill me, so I really don't want to get involved.
Okay, high or low? All right, you stay here a minute, and then Smokey will start walking forward to see what's going on. Slowly.
All right, cool. Yep.
That's not
Yeah. Oh, nobody is even kind of taking hint that you're there at this moment. All focus seems to mainly be on Mara and then the person on the ground. So you can kind of get as close. I don't know how close you want to get, but
I'll walk over as close as I can if nobody stops me, and I'll do the, looking at Mara, then bending down to look at the person on the ground, and looking at Mara to see if I recognize the person on the ground.
Right on. So you get, we'll say you get probably about like 8 to 10 feet away. That's plenty of, so you've kind of closed the distance by most of the way, and at that point you can see. Mara up there getting held back, and then you look on the ground and you see the guard kind of checking up on Mara, making sure that she's okay, and just like bloody, face pounded, like gasping at this moment.
If Smokey reaches his arm down to pull the guard up, does the guard take it?
If you want to get that close, yeah.
It's a Mara on the floor. The guard is over.
Oh, it's the reverse. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking it was the other way. I will.
Oh no. So there's Mara being held by 2 guards. And then there's Mara on the ground with a guard checking up on her.
That's what I was confused.
Yeah.
Smokey will just be himself, so he'll put a smile on his face and just go, "Anything I can help you with here?" And then
at that point, the guard will look up. Yeah, Mara sees you, and she's like, "Stop that motherfucker! Do not let that thing out of here!" And again, at that point she like starts kind of like fucking trying to fight them again.
Who let who out of here? You?
And she's like, dude, she can't really point, but she's like nodding with her head, and she's like, "That."
It's your first time seeing something like that?
And at that point, she will. One of the guards looks at you, who's trying to hold her, and he's like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" And as he breaks his attention to her, she pulls her arm out, just fucking elbows him in the face, punches the other dude, and just knees him in the chest and throws him, and then takes a giant 2 steps and a giant lunging punch, and like goes over the guard and lands on. So Mara lands on Mara and just starts fucking wailing on her face again.
I'm gonna grab her and pull her off and try to pull her back away from everybody.
Oh, all right. Give me a roll.
Mr. Smokey, no!
This is gonna be might, right? Yeah.
Whichever, if you want to do, you can do might, you can do agility, like however you want to try this.
Yep. This is gonna be bad.
Oh,
4.
got to be an 8.
Not even close.
That's a no and right there. Good job. So yeah. So not only are you not able to, so you like reach down and try to grab her, and she kind of just turns to you and just swings her head back and just rocks you in the face. So go ahead and take, let's see, 1 point of charm damage as she just fucking busts your nose.
No, not my charm. Okay.
Hey, if you get a nice scar on your nose, it might be more charming. You never know.
And there you go. I didn't even think of that. I'm assuming she just busted my nose. So.
Yep.
I was going to try to use some charm, but I guess I got to hold off on that for a minute. I'll look around to see if anybody's trying to grab her again. I'm assuming they're going to try to get her, and I'll just.
At that point, and once she's headbutted you, she literally just reaches down, grabs Mara's hair, and just starts slamming her head into the ground. And at that point, the other guard kind of gets up, and the other 2 guards now reach over and grab her. And so they have her each by the arm. One of them grabs her by the waist, and they just like tear her down to the ground. And then at that point, one more guard comes over comes through the doors of the cafeteria and runs over, and he has basically a taser. And he comes over and he just is like running over to her.
I'm going to pull up a chair and sit down. Hold the bridge of my nose and just kind of take it all in, looking to see what's going on. And I tried to stop her.
Yep.
Got the better of me.
Yep.
I'm just going to sit down for a minute, hold my nose.
There you go. Yeah, so Huxley, you're still standing at the door, basically. So when the doors open up behind you and this guard comes rushing through, he like knocks you on the side as you're in. And he looks at you and like gives you this almost like dismissive look. And then he runs over and he has the taser. He pulls out the taser and just goes right into her side, and you just see her like start to shake and they are able to they roll her over, throw some like zip tie cuffs around her wrists and around her ankles. And then one of the guards walks over and he goes, "He's fucking dead. She killed her. The fuck?"
I move over to Smokey, and I'm like, and he's like reaching into like his pockets. He pulls out like a handkerchief and gives it to him. He's like, "Here, hold, yeah, like that's it. Pinch your nose, put your head back a little bit. You can keep the handkerchief. I told you not to get involved. She kicked Mr. Zuchy's butt before, don't you remember? Oh, I don't remember that because I wasn't there, and he didn't tell us. But she's really big."
No one ever said I stopped to think things through all the time, so it was just a gut reaction.
Oh, that's probably broken. Let me. Ooh, that looks really bad.
Snap it back in.
Oh, all right. Well, here, just don't bite your tongue off, and it'll like snap your nose back into place.
Hey, go ahead and give me a medical check.
All right. Let's do it. Here we go.
Let's see. Let's go with deal 4.
All right. That should be fine.
This is something anyone can do. Just it takes a swift hand to do it well.
That's an 8.
Oh,
You look even
nice.
better now.
There you go.
Who's got your nose?
You gain +1 charm. Yeah, so let's say you're able to easily set it. And give me an and.
The kitchen's not closed, and we get to have something to eat.
It's been a long run. We've got too much excitement.
Right.
We need something to eat.
So yeah, you actually look down on the ground, and yeah, there's at this point like a big puddle of like a pool of blood starting to spread out, and Mara is there on the ground, like mostly kind of almost recognizable. And then you just look over, like you kind of follow it, and just a couple of feet away is Mara, and she's now sitting up, like feet tied, hands behind her back, and she's sitting up, and she just has this giant grin on her face, as like her whole face and upper body and everything is spattered in blood, and she just has a grin on her face, and she's just nodding her head.
Huxley leans into Smokey and says, "I don't think she's very stable. Maybe they didn't give her meds."
Maybe I should have not leaped in. I think you were right. I think I was a bit rash.
You better hope she doesn't hold a grudge.
So I'm guessing we walk over to wherever the food vending or whatever is, grab some food.
Yeah,
and
yeah. There's a guy there, and he's like still got an eye on it. He's not even looking at you guys, and he's like, "Yeah, what can I get you?"
Put another spoonful of that on there. Yeah, let's grab some food and sit down, and let's try to get a table
in the corner away from all that.
Yeah, I want to find out what's going on. So do we talk to Mara or do we talk to the guards?
At this point, like you guys go and they hike her up and they're taking her.
Okay, so she's gone
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
think.
fine.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're
if
not
that
going to
was-
just like hang out here.
Hang
Like,
out
okay,
there, let her
guys,
sit
pull
there.
up a seat.
Okay.
If that was
So, yeah.
another Mara, I mean, I guess they didn't tell her that they made a clone, just like Mr. Brock, right? I mean, if they make Brock a clone, then I hope they don't tell anybody, right? Because Mr. Zuchy, well, I mean, he's probably more stable than Miss Mara, I guess, unless she's the clone. Because if she didn't get her shots or whatever, like our Miss Marla, then maybe she's broken.
So I think we got the answer to whether everybody does this voluntarily or not. That's my guess, but you could be right. We don't know. Maybe it was an agreement and maybe she didn't get the help she needed. But
Was she from Ingram? I mean, we never saw another Mara, right?
the only one I saw was the one that was chatting with us and has the memories of that. So I'm assuming that's the only one we ran into. I can't remember if she said, I don't think she said she was from Ingram. Did she? Did she maybe tell Zuchy? I can't remember her saying anything to us, though, me and you.
I mean, I never really talked to her. I know you used to hang out with her, at least kind of, sort of at the bar, right?
Yeah, that was late at night. I probably don't remember that stuff, but let me. My mind's a bit clear now, so let me rattle that around in my head a bit and see if I can think about that. I don't know which is, in your mind, which is better, that she is one and she hasn't been getting the help she needed, or she isn't one and this is the result when you find out. Don't know.
I guess I wouldn't be happy if they just made a clone out of me, but I mean, I don't think I would kill it, right? I mean, that doesn't seem right. And then he kind of like looks up and away, and then he kind of shivers, thinking about killing people. He just like bites on a carrot or whatever, and just like avoids eye contact.
It
taste of
may
carrot.
be.
It's a
You know,
clone.
we were clone. We were told that she was one of those runners that went AWOL. So, is it she went AWOL because she found out something, or went AWOL because she wasn't getting what she needed? I don't know. Who could we ask? Could we ask the other Marla? Could we ask someone else here? Would they give us a straight answer? And do we even want to start poking that while they're looking at Brock? As you said, I don't want to put anything at risk at the moment.
I mean, I guess we could ask Miss Other Marla. I mean, she said if we had any questions, we could ask her. And we're gonna stay here. I mean, at least overnight. I mean, I don't know if Mr. Zuchy's gonna want to just stay here, because I don't know what that's going to do to the campaign. But I mean, we're at least going to be here for, I don't know, a day or two, I guess, right? I mean,
I'm guessing Zuchy's not going to want to leave until he has some better information about how Brock's doing. But yeah, it may be worth talking to the other Miss Marla and see what the accommodation agreement is for us at the moment. I think last time we came, they were a bit free and easy with letting us stay, but maybe we get a hold of the Marla and maybe ask her about Brock, and then maybe ask her what the hell is going on here too. Maybe she has some information about that, and we can, kind of kill two birds with one stone there.
yeah, I mean, I would just be worried that Mara would be waiting outside for us again when we leave, and if she's mad at you, then I mean, I don't know. Once she's in a suit, I mean, she's going to be even stronger. It took 4 guards to take her down, and a taser.
Yeah, let's do our fighting with words for a bit till we figure out where we stand and what we can look forward to. So let's finish up eating, and then maybe we'll go to try to track down that Marla and talk to her, see if we can get some information.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to fast forward just a little bit in time. So at what point, if at any point, honestly, would Zuchy try to reconnect with Huxley and Smokey?
Oh yeah, for sure.
No.
Yeah, he.
So do you think he would?
Just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he just wouldn't abandon those two. Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, but I mean, is it something like? Would you wait? Would you sleep here and wait till the next morning? Would you give it like an hour or a few hours or?
Well, that's a good question. I think that it depends upon if everybody seems to feel like it, like all the people that are helping him, if they seem to feel like they're all there, like they say, to help out, and they feel like feel like they're trustworthy, then I'd probably after a few hours, I'd probably just let them do their thing, and then I would depart. If there wasn't anything that would be like, out of the ordinary, that would make me feel like I need to be here the whole time.
Zuchy's going to be hungry too, right? Because he hasn't been on the run with us. So.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll say after a couple hours, they've periodically, nurses or doctors or technicians have all come in. They've asked you a handful of questions each time. They have you, attempt to do some tests with Brock. but you don't quite get the same result as you did before. It's still promising. You do get some muscle flexes and things like that, which they are astonished with, just with that. And so after a couple hours, at that point they say, okay, we're gonna take all this. We're gonna process a lot of the information, and if we require your assistance, or if we have anything come up, then we will contact you. Until then, if you want, you can either stay here, or we can have you escorted back up, so that you can eat, rest, whatever you would like.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to join my compatriots, so that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we'll have somebody come in, and this is a closed area, so we will have somebody escort you back up.
Okay, and then he would go up to Brock, and he would kind of squeeze his arm, and he'd be like, "All right, buddy, I have to depart for a little bit, but you trust these doctors, and they know what they're doing. They're here to help you. So if they need you to cooperate, make sure you do that. All right." And then he'll just kind of give him a little bit of a nudge with his hand to be like, "You do it," that kind of thing.
Nice. All right, and at that point, one of the nurses will escort you back down the hallway to the elevator, and they'll walk you in, put their hand on it, tell it level 1, and then they'll step out, and the elevator will go back up and bring you back up to the first level. Okay. And at that point, have you two been kind of hanging out in the cafeteria, or would you eat a little bit and then head back to the staging room?
I feel like we probably stay in the cafeteria, right? Because
Yeah.
probably maybe more Smokey, right? Listening to the chatter and trying to eavesdrop and get info.
There, yeah.
And like I said, now that the hunger hit, right? I know that if Zuchy's not going to stay there the whole time, then I'm guessing he's going to kind of want to come get something to eat. So this is a good place to meet up with them. Just hang out here, because if we go back to the staging area, we're just going to be hanging out there. At least here, there's it's not just the two of us, right? It's other people around, things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you'll as you're there, you watch them kind of move everything out of the way. They bag up the body. They move, they put that on a stretcher, take it away, clean up the floor, contaminate the, clean the entire area, make sure it, clear of contamination and everything. And set the table back up and all that kind of stuff. Overall, the process probably takes a good 45 minutes to an hour. Documentation needs to be done. And even at that point, at one point, somebody actually does walk over to the two of you and say, were you participants in this?
No.
And he kind of looks and you see him it's
my black eyes.
Right, exactly. So it's this kind of shorter, slender, dark-skinned man with cropped hair, and he kind of when he asks you if you're a participant, he you can see him focus in on the cut on your nose and the black eyes.
We walked in. I saw Mara. I think we saw Mara getting pulled off of the other Mara. And it was getting a bit violent, and Smokey will look over to Huxley, kind of jokingly, and just say, I I wanted to try the save the kid from seeing all the horribleness. So I tried to break it up, and I'll wink at the guy.
I told him he
so
shouldn't get
a good
involved. She
Samaritan.
looked like she was really angry.
And Smokey will start laughing. I have to. Next time I will listen to you, Huxley. That's for sure. After this.
All right, so you didn't see how this started, none of that.
Nah, we walked in on it. Piqued my interest just because we know of Mara and have met her before and talked to her before. So I was just trying to break up any of the violence that was going on. Try to be a good
From
Samaritan.
what I hear, you came here with her, so I was assuming you kind of had a little bit of connection, a little knowledge.
Smokey holds his hands up and says, she was waiting at the front door when we showed up. She just happened to tag along after we zapped ourselves in. We weren't together coming here. We've run into each other before in Ingram, was it? Yeah, it was in Ingram that I ran into her. At least me. But yeah, we weren't together coming this time. That's for sure.
She told me she was going to kill me when we were coming in. I didn't think it was very nice. And now she actually killed somebody. I mean, I guess she killed herself, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's not her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to that point, as my friend here said, she seems to be have a bit of a short fuse. Have you dealt with her before here? And is that normal for her?
And he'll look at you and he'll say, "No comment. Thank you very much." And you actually see him at that point pull from his side. He has a little recorder and he like clicks it and will turn around and walk away.
Well, before he...
Why don't you go ahead and give me... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead first. And then
Let's say, why don't you go ahead and give me a brains check?
I don't think he's allowed to do that without permission, Mr. Smokey.
And you
Fucking
You
ACAB.
can beat a 4.
5.
Huxley jumps on his
Hey,
back
there you
and
go.
takes the
Look at
recorder.
You can definitely tell when he said no comment, thank you. You could see that there was like a twitch in his face. He definitely knows what's going on. He just doesn't want to.
Before he gets out of earshot,
yeah.
Smokey will just say a bit louder, theatrically. Well, looks like we got a bit of a clue about what's going on. I guess we'll have to do some more digging. I won't say. I was going to say Huxley, but I won't say any names after the ACAB comment. I'll make sure. I'll pull up my black block mask and my hood and whatever.
I take out an umbrella and a fucking orange cone.
Black on black with the ski mask.
So yeah, obviously we noticed that, and I'll poke the bear a bit, and I will say something like, wow, that's I guess that non-answer is pretty much an answer. So
yeah,
thanks.
And yeah, you see him pause for a moment and like turn his head slightly, and he then continues to walk.
Okay, and then I'll, in a lower voice, just to Huxley, I'll just say, okay, I'll be more careful. Like you said, we don't want to make too many people angry at us. We got a lot riding on this, so maybe I'll stop being snarky to everybody.
Well, I mean, he should have told us he was going to record us if that's what he was doing. That just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I don't think he really cares, but you do have a good point on that. Look, Huxley, if they're stealing our skin cells and making more of us, I don't think he really cares about a recorder. So I think it's a different magnitude going on here.
I mean, I guess you're probably right.
And at that point, okay.
The important thing, let's see how Zuchy's doing, and let's see how Brock's doing.
Okay, should we order him some food? Well, I guess it'll be cold by the time he gets here. Hey, how
Yeah,
long
I'll
are you
look-
going to be open still? Because our friend is going to come up and he's
The
probably
guy's
going to be
there.
hungry because he went down. I mean, because it was a long time before we got here. And, we came up to get something to eat, but, he went down with his brother and, like, he looks, like at his wrist, his chronometer or whatever. Be like, I don't know, he's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
gone for a while.
Well, we're open for about 14 hours a day, so we should be open for a few more hours. So, and
Okay.
honestly, after that, we still even though the staff here, like myself, will be gone, we still do have a full self-service area.
I think
Most
we had that
cold
last time we were
foods,
here. Yeah.
cereals, things like that. So,
Oh, okay.
Continental breakfast.
Thank you.
oh, no problem.
You'll look over to the door, see if anybody walks in,
Yeah.
good or bad.
Yeah, and after a little bit, so Zuchy, you come up from the elevator, you come back into the offices, and you can either go right or left, and right takes you back to the area you were. So left probably takes you to the cafeteria. So
Yeah, I for some reason Zuchy has like in the back of his head, he's like, Smokey's probably looking for me. No, I'm just kidding. He would never say that. So he's hungry. He wants to see his friends. So he would go to where he assumes is the cafeteria.
sounds good. Yep. And so after a little while, you two see Zuchy return coming into the cafeteria. And you can see there's a handful of people in the cafeteria now. They're giving these two guys space. So like there's a little more than a dozen tables, and there's like at least one table gap between anybody else and the two of them.
So I think I know where Huxley will go with this. So I'll try to, when he starts talking, I'll try to. I'll just say, well, let's see what Zuchy does first.
I think Huxley stands when Zuchy comes in.
No.
But, I'd
He's
wait
not
by
going to
the
get
table.
up.
Yeah. So is it one of those things where they bring you the food, or you just like you grab the food and then go?
No, it's like a almost if you go to like an IKEA or a school cafeteria, right? Like, so they have the
that's what I was
kitchen, and you grab your tray and you go up and you get your food. Yep.
Okay, yeah. I'd grab my food, and then I'd head over.
That's good.
While Zuchy's walking over, Smokey will say to Huxley, "Look, I know there's been a lot of excitement, but let's hear about Brock first, and then you can fill him in all the other stuff." Because I was assuming the minute he saw Zuchy, he was going to start.
No, he was going to ask about Brock. It was the first thing
Okay,
he was going to ask about.
Cool.
I know, Mr. Smokey. I was concerned for Mr. Zuchy. I was going to ask him how Brock was doing.
Yeah, hopefully it's some good news.
Mr. Zuchy, like he's waving his hand like you can't see us.
Yeah, no one gets near us, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
He
yeah,
like
you
sheepishly waves like, hey.
and you walk over to the table and you see Huxley there, like a dog that hasn't seen his owner in a day. And then you like big grin on his face, and then you also you see Smokey, who has like a cut on the bridge of his nose and two black eyes.
Yeah. So Zuchy would probably like walk up and like say, hey gentlemen, and then he'll look at Smokey and be like, oh, somebody got in trouble.
I told him to stop making fun of me.
I was sticking up for
I think
the kid.
Zuchy would laugh completely out loud to that. He would just find that so hilarious.
You have no idea what's been going on, but as Huxley said, how's Brock doing and what's the news?
Well, there's some good in and there's some bad. Well, he
Bad news
is
first.
being Well, the good news and the bad news are kind of together, so I'll just throw them out at you there. So basically, what's happening is that back when we used to be a family, me and my brothers and sisters would do like exercise, we'd do workouts, that kind of thing. So I decided to just kind of get some of his limbs working, and it garnered a response, like a huge response, where he was actually giving me resistance, but he was also yelling something that I think is something that has happened to him in his past, and it caused him to have kind of an attack, a physical attack to himself. And so luckily the doctors around here are very nice, and they were able to help him. But let's just say I was hoping for a more positive response, but again, I think that any response is good. So the fact that he was able to respond to what I was putting him through, although it was kind of a negative thing, I still feel it's a positive.
So we haven't heard Brock say anything, right? We just knew any of the movements he was doing was just to Zuchy when Zuchy was holding him, right? So Huxley and I wouldn't have seen that, right? So Smokey's still going to be eating and shoveling stuff in his face, but he'll say, I think you got to look at it this way, that if he's speaking, that isn't anything I would have expected this quickly. We saw what kind of shape Brock was in, so that's definitely a positive. And I'm sure Huxley can fill me in on all the biological reasons why that's true, but you got a reaction. He's talking, and just that lashing out, right? How long's he been out there? What has he been through? The first thing he's going to do when he comes around is try to fight against it, whether you're there or whoever's there. So I really wouldn't take that to heart at all. He's speaking and he's moving, so that's pretty good.
For sure. I definitely don't take that stuff to heart because, again, he's been through a lot of trauma, so obviously he's got to fight through that as well. So I think, again, any response is a good response.
Absolutely.
Did they do anything to him yet? I mean, did he just start to come around because of what you were doing?
I mean, I garnered the first response, and then they sedated him because he was having too much excitement, I guess. But no, they're still kind of working on him. Nothing that's really been something that's really like earth-shattering right now. But I'm sure they'll do their thing, and hopefully he'll be able to make some progress.
I look at it this way. The fact that he's moving and responding, okay, earth-shattering may be the wrong thing to say, but to be honest with you, Zuchy, I didn't think we were going to get that kind of reaction in any short amount of time. So to me, that's a really, really good sign.
Yeah, believe me, I understand the probability of the reality of everything, and the fact that he's kind of surprisingly kind of beat the odds at the moment. Whether or not that will actually garner anything positive in the future, who knows?
Look around. We're in a place with Marlas and Maras and dogs everywhere. So I wouldn't, getting your hopes up maybe in a place like this might be a good thing, because who the hell knows what's going on here and what they can do. So take that as a positive.
Well, I mean, technically, I think there's only one Mara now because she
Smokey.
I'm sorry, excuse me? There was more than one?
Well, so I mean, when we came in, because we were gonna get something to eat, and then like there was yelling, and the tables were all turned over, and Miss Mara was well, she beat somebody up, and then Mr. Smokey went over to go help, and then she headbutt him, and that's how his nose got broken. And then I reset it. It was super easy because if you grab it real quick and you give it a little, and then I told him I had this note. It doesn't matter. But anyway, it was Miss Mar. I mean, it wasn't Miss Mar because she was the one that, but it was another one, a clone. But she killed it. I don't think she knew. Maybe.
But the most important thing is, I took Mara down and put her straight to the ground.
That's not what happened at all, Mr. Smokey. It took 4 guys to take her down and a taser.
It took 4 guys, a taser, and my nose, and she finally went down. But yeah, she did not have a good reaction.
I think we can safely say that you put your nose where it doesn't belong, eh?
That's exactly what Huxley told me before and after I did it. So you guys are correct. But she did not take kindly to
shocked.
seeing.
Well, okay. Well, I will say this. Number one, I think this is obvious. We can't be associated with her at all. I know we came in with her. They probably think that we're together, but we're not.
That's what security said.
We made sure that we
of course they did.
we reinforced that point with the fact that she threatened Huxley also. So hopefully that point's been a...
I think if she tries to make contact with us again, I think we need to avoid that at all costs.
Just remember, Huxley, I'm assuming there's cameras all over this place, so I'm sure that they saw from the view out that she was there quite a while before we showed up. So,
that's probably true. I mean, they have the whole thing built into the wall, so it would make sense if they have a bunch of cameras.
Well, it all depends upon who is paying attention to that. Obviously, they wouldn't have asked you that question if they knew exactly what was going on. So we have to be careful there. Number 2, I think we have to be careful as far as this cloning process goes, because as much as I don't condone what she did at all, obviously, because even though that this other Mara is a clone, that is a human being or a being or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's murder. Like, that's wrong. I don't care. But I also understand if someone were to just take a piece of me, or I don't know how they're doing it, and make another one of me without my consent, I'd be right mad myself.
Mr. Smokey said he didn't care, but I thought that was kind of weird because I wouldn't want another me running around.
Look, I got to have some drinking buddies, right? So what better way to have a drink?
I think Mr. Smokey would actually love a lot of him around, but then nobody else would like that.
On my own,
and then he would just kind of like sock him in the arm a little too hard, probably.
I think you're both onto a point. Huxley raised it before of what is actually going on and who has a say on what's going on, right? And I think what Huxley said was that the Mara that we know, maybe she isn't the first Mara, or maybe her reactions and the way she did that could be because she didn't know about this, or as Huxley said, that we had to bring stuff to Miss Marla for her well-being. Maybe this Mara wasn't getting what she needed for her well-being, and this is what happens. So I don't know. Do we want to know? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, now this is like actually scaring me now that you're saying that. What's not to say that we're not the original of ourselves?
Huxley gets wide-eyed and looks around the room.
What I'm trying to think what it would be. What is What is
It's
you
all
know,
Huxley's. You finally look around and you realize the entire cafeteria is just all Huxley.
oops, all Huxley.
This is like a very
Yep.
scary version of Fight Club where everybody's Huxley. We were all Huxley the whole time.
I think we're getting into some real deep esoteric thought about sentience and the soul and all kinds of crazy shit. But I don't. All I'm worried about is us getting out of here without owing too much to something or someone, and that Brock's all right. I think those are the key things right now. And any of these deeper philosophical questions about who is the original and which one, I have no clue.
Well, I mean, like, what's the play? Like, what do we do? I mean, Mr. Zuchy Brock is here, and I mean, we could come back if we go home, but like, do you want to stay? Like, what do we do? I mean, did they say what they wanted? If anything, I mean,
Well, to me, it seems like they want to help him, but they also, in doing that, they also want to help themselves by trying to figure out if being out in the world here and, having being affected by that outside world and having the signal consume you or whatever, is that something that is that something that we can reverse? So then, when we're out and about, maybe there are ways that they can find, like maybe if there's some kind of vaccine or some kind of protection or something like that that we can have, that we can be out in that world and things won't affect us as much. So I think that, I mean, I trust y'all. I feel that whatever you want to do, I will accompany you. Like if we have to leave Brock here and have him, just stay with them, that's fine with me. But I would also love to have some kind of communication to be able to check up on them, not just to be able to, if that's available, not to just be able to just have to come here every once in a while. Like maybe there's a way that we can communicate other than us just coming to visit all the time as well. Even though I will do that every once in a while to check up on it.
Did Marla say when we sent her off that she didn't need a suit, or because we stole her a suit, right? But didn't she mention something to us before we sent her off about being able to be out longer than we could? Or am I
sounds
just
vaguely familiar?
or is my bridge of my nose pushed up into my brain? I can't remember.
So
'Cause
she doesn't need the suit to survive out there, but you had her go in a suit anyway because it would give her armor, it would give her speed, it would
Right.
help her survivability out there.
So to your point, Zuchy, maybe they are doing something here trying to fight it and make people impervious to it. And if Brock's someone who was out there without that and came back, maybe that's something they're looking into.
Well, how long was he gone for? When was the last time that you saw him?
Oh, I mean, I haven't seen my brother in years. So I truly don't know how long he's been gone. And I actually thought all of my brothers and sisters were killed.
So maybe this is a brains roll, or maybe this is an in-world thing. Do we know whether or not, I forget what the zombies are called because it's not zombies. do they wander, right? Like, is it like Walking Dead where these things like move in herds or packs or whatever, and they sort of wander around, or are they sort of stationary? I mean, I know they'll chase because we've had that happen,
Yep.
but do they generally kind of move around? Like, would we have any sense like, oh, he's been in that crater for 5 years or 10 years or whatever?
So there's, not to skirt around the answer, but there's a combination of it, right? There's some that will just straight up be stationary. They'll never move. There's some like the ones that you've seen in outside of Ingram that will wander around, but in the same general area. And then there are some that will, carry across really far distances.
Those are the ones that are connected, right?
Yeah,
because
so
we
there
had
are some
something
that
where
are
the red light
connected
came on because the
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
So there's some where like Anne will just like use them to do things, and so those
repair
ones can
towers.
exactly, yeah. So those ones can travel pretty far.
Okay. All right.
Did we
So yeah.
talk to Mercer before, or we just know that he's in charge of the lab? I can't remember if it was something that Miss Joanna told. No, Miss Joanna wouldn't have told us that. Would
We
she?
talked to him.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah,
The
last time, the first time you
we
were here,
came
you had to sit
First
down with
time,
them.
yeah. Okay. Do we want to go talk to Mercer and see where we stand? To see what they're going to do for Brock? See what we may have to be doing for them doing for Brock? Or do we wait for them to come to us?
Well, I mean, I assume that if he wanted us, that they would come and get us, right? I mean, Miss Marla said we just could get some food and, sort of hang out here. So, I guess if there's an issue, someone would come and get us, right?
If there's an issue, but what if we want to make an issue of it, right? Do we just want to sit here and be at their beck and call, or do we want to get some answers? I guess it's more if Zuchy wants to get some answers.
Well,
Because I think you're right. You don't. I wouldn't want to drag you away if you're not comfortable leaving them. So what's the next step? What are they going to do for him and for us? And are they expecting us to do something in return is more what I'm thinking.
well, should we call the other Miss Marla then? She said we could.
What do you guys think?
I'd be fine with that. I mean, I feel like just us kind of being here, not doing anything is kind of a waste of our talent. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think that, yeah, just waiting for something to happen probably is not the best bet, but
And I
Yeah.
think just
Yeah,
waiting around will make the time go a lot slower. Because obviously you've got a lot of things on your mind, and being distracted by something else probably is a good thing. It'll make time go a bit faster, and it won't have you in your own head about what's going on with Brock. But yeah, I don't want to sever any kind of communications. Like you said, there's got to be a way where you can know what's going on and the status and how he's doing. But I also don't think we want to be running back and forth every couple days. It's probably not the most efficient use of everybody's time and energy, to check on Brock.
Should we go back to the receiving area and then give her a call then? I assume there won't be anybody in there. Then we could just talk to her and not have to worry about anybody listening in or recording.
I'll look around to see if there's any cameras recessed anywhere, and If there is, I'll just point to it and look at Huxley and start giggling.
No, just so just like the first time that you were here, you don't see any sign of cameras or anything like that.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they're not there. You just don't see them.
They're not hanging down on a
Right,
lever
exactly.
or anything.
You don't
Yeah.
see little black spheres hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah. I say we finish up eating, and if you guys want to go talk to Marla, I say we do it. Find out where everybody stands.
Let's do it.
All right. So you want to finish up eating and then head back to the room so that you can contact her?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. All right. So yeah, you finish up, and at this point, you've been here for a while. And the cafeteria is pretty much emptied out. When you exit, all of the labs seem to be shutting down at this point. And so it's pretty quiet as you walk through, and you make your way back to the staging room where your suits are. And at this point, they actually look like they've brought in some cots and set things up for you. And you do notice that there are 3 cots. There's 3 of you. Obviously, they have not set one up for Mara. And yeah, you walk into the room, you see the cot set up, and then you do notice you have your suits kind of lined up charging against the wall, and on your data readouts on your monitors there's a blinking red light on all 3 of your suits.
Uh-oh. Huxley would go over to look.
All right.
We all push them at the same time.
Yeah, so you go over and you take a look at it, and there's a message alert. And when you open it up, it says distress beacon, license number PW76GE18.
Does is there like some sort of a search function kind of look up that number?
Yeah, sure. You click on it, and it brings up the runner name, Renee Wilmore.
Okay. Renee Wilmore. Do you either of you guys know her? It doesn't sound familiar, or him. I don't know. I don't know who this is.
Smokey
Do we
looks
know?
through his mental notes.
Go ahead, Smokey. Go ahead and give me a brains.
Because you guys were staying in the barrack, so if it's somebody from Ingram, then you might know.
Higher the better.
6.
Nice. There we go. It is no one that you know, but you know the
Wasted a
name.
6.
No,
It's no
So,
one.
it's no one you know, but you know the name because it was the name of the locker of the person that you stole the suit from.
So we got an alert that there's a distress call coming from that suit.
Correct.
Smokey says, "Oh shit, we got to talk about next steps, guys."
Is that where we cut?
And we're gonna go ahead and end it there.
Yeah. All right, nice. Dig that. All right. Well, thank everybody for checking it out. We've got our Patreon up if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way. Kurt's got a podcast, MFG Cast. Kurt, why don't you give us a rundown on what's going on over there?
Sure, we've got Core Noir. We're wrapping up on our final season that we're recording now, but we're hot into our, I think it's almost the second to last season actually that we've got on the on the actual podcast. We've got some good D&D action. If you're looking for something live on our YouTube channel, we're running our Time After Time campaign, so check that out. Posted a few TikToks about some stuff that's coming out, or one of the games that's coming out, or that's on Kickstarter right now. So check that out, and just some blabbering that I do every once in a while when I feel like it. So check that out if you feel like it.
Nice. That's it. The ratings, reviews on iTunes or whatever your podcatcher of choice is, probably helpful. Spitecast, yada yada, recording all the time. Hey, we don't record that much anymore. I guess that's actually not true. We record sometimes, usually late.
Only once a week or so.
Sparingly, but it's phenomenal work.
There you go. That's what it is. All right. Thanks everybody for checking it out. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, Cap.